So this is my field experience video that I am going to do. I observed a first grade core math class. I am assigned to go there. I did this at Washington Elementary here in Wichita. I am assigned to go there. I work at Washington and I am an ESOL para, but that class has three special ed kids. They have an IEP, and I got to work with them several times when the sped para wasn't there or she was busy with some other kids. I got to work with them a lot. I've been going to that class ever since the year started, and the kids that I worked with, I did not get a chance to talk to the SPED head teacher to talk to her about IEPs. And for some reason at this school, since it's we just have some SPED kids here and there, they don't really talk about IEPs or how to help the kids unless you are a SPED para, and even those teachers don't get as much information as they should on what the kids' IEPs are and what they should be doing to help them learn. But I did work. There was one that had autism. He was autistic, and the other ones were just learning disabilities. So that would be my first question. And it was a different type of experience because I have worked at a special ed school, class, in a SPED class before. I worked K through 2nd grade at Mueller Elementary, and I also worked K through 2nd grade at Bostic Elementary here in Wichita. So I was used to that kind of SPED classrooms where it was just, in one of them we had 6 kids, and in at the other school we had 5 kids. They were all SPED, and the classroom setting was just totally different. It was a very big area that was divided for the kids. Their desks had dividers between them so the kids wouldn't get distracted. The breakfast table was a U-shaped table where they all sat together. Then they had a big carpet area for when for when they watched videos or read a book. The bathroom was in the classroom, and it was a big bathroom that one of them had what would I call them, a medical bed, those that go up and down, and it had a remote. And there were pictures of everything everywhere. They had a schedule laid out where they had to Velcro, and they would take it out and go put it whenever it's time for each activity. So going into this new SPED that I went now at this school, where they're integrated into their classrooms and they're there the whole day. In the other SPED class that I've been to, we did have to take them, like they would have they would go to PE with the rest of the kids, but then they would have to come back to their SPED classroom. Well, with these kids, they're there the whole time, and we go help them during math, and it was different because you can tell that they really struggled, and just taking them out, because the teacher would be in her carpet at the front of the classroom by the smart board and her desk, and she would have a little U-shaped table at the other end of the classroom in the very back, and with an area where you could put, we usually use whiteboards and markers and pencils, and she would have everything close to us. And so it's different because the kids are still listening to what's going on over there. And sometimes that distracts them, and sometimes they get so into it. Being in a small groups, it helps them so much that they don't even notice that the other kids are maybe way ahead or doing something totally different because they're in a small area. They don't have that distraction. It's just a couple of them. And that's um, when we learned about special needs and the different learning disabilities and the different teacher techniques, where they said put them in small groups or in smaller areas where they don't have so much going on. I can really tell that that helps them. And having another teacher or a para teaching them these things at a lower pace, or maybe breaking it down more, or helping them with each step instead of saying you do it, let me show you first, and then helping them and going way slower. Sometimes they catch up really fast, and sometimes it takes them a long while. And it varies, because sometimes the teacher would give me the teacher plan and it would say do this, this, and this, and sometimes we would be way ahead of her, but not because the kids not because they were ahead of them academically, but because it's a small group, so they can move faster. As the other group was a little bit bigger, so it kind of took them a long time because there were so many of them. So it's like it has two sides of it, but I can definitely tell that in a normal classroom, those kids really do need that pull out to the side so they could work at their own pace. And if they have questions, I can be there to answer it right away instead of them waiting and maybe getting distracted or just giving up completely. And that was very effective. And we also, as I started working a couple of days after, we got a new student, and his name was Casey. So Casey, we're going to say, is this student that has had many behavior problems, and he did not really adapt to the new school setting that we had, so he would run. He would get out of the classroom and just run, and he ran really fast. The teacher was not able to go after him. The first couple of weeks it was really hard because it was something different for the whole staff. We had never had a kid that would just run if he didn't like something, so the staff worked very quickly to come up with something that would help him, and slowly we have been helping him get better. And he's not running out as much. He's not running around doing things. He still does wonder sometimes, but when we had in service last week, we talked about all the kids that if we ever saw wandering around in the hallways without a teacher, we should take action and go after them, and this student was one of those. And I really liked how the staff tried to work together for him. So now he has a behavior chart where he has the different classes that he goes to. Like in the morning it is reading, and then it is technology, and then core math, and then maybe reading tier, whatever the first grade schedule is. It has a picture of the teacher that he has to go during that time, and then it has smiley faces and sad faces. And depending on how long the time that he's there, if it's within an hour, there are 7 smiley and sad faces, and if he ever was to run out, then he would get a sad face. But if he did work and he stayed on task, he would get a smiley face. Before that behavior chart, they had done another one where if he did good for 10 minutes, I think, if he was on task for 10 minutes, then he would get a 3-minute break. So that was was 60 minutes. So if he did good the whole time, he would get 6 breaks. When I first saw it, I did not think that was the best plan, because we would see that he would work for a couple minutes and then he would get a break, but then he didn't want to come back from that break. So then that's when the behavior started happening again. So that's when we changed to the new one that he has now, which is he carries around his clipboard and each teacher gets to circle and then leave comments, and then at the end of the day, if he does really good, then he gets a prize. And we have a room in the school where the teacher decorated it with superheroes, and he loves going to that room because he thinks he's Flash. So if he ever does good, then I think at the end of the day he gets to go in there for a couple minutes, or he gets a treat or anything like that, something that will interest him, and it's usually something to do with superheroes. And my thoughts about working with these types of kids, I think that it was really something different, and I like it. I like that I got to see another type of special ed, because I was very used to where the kids have their own classrooms, or like I talk to my mom a lot. She works at Levy and she's in the behavior classes, and they have their own setting, and I was used to that because that's the sped that I went into. So coming and looking at the side of them actually being in a normal school and how they have to adapt, because that school doesn't offer a set aside class, it was really cool to see how the staff works, how the teachers work with the paras, and how the kids also adapt to those things. So it was really cool to see that. I like that I got to see the other side, and it will definitely help me if I either have my own sped classroom, or if I have a classroom with some sped kids, depending on what I do. I really like looking at different types of special ed. So that was my reflection. Oh, and I have my paper. It kind of printed off at the bottom right here. I mean at the top. Let me get it right there. That's the teacher that, other side. That's the teacher that I worked with. Her name is Jennifer Broadbent. And this signature right here, I got this signed today. It says, what did he say? He said administrative designee, because both of the principal and the vice principal were out on the training. They were there in the morning, but when I got the time when I was on break and I had the time to go talk to them, they were gone. And they have been gone a lot because we have a new vice principal, so they go to tons of training. They're practically gone every day. We don't even see them a lot. So he signed it. He's a teacher there. He's a 4th grade teacher. His name is Eduardo Flores, and he said that he was gonna say that he's the administrative designee. So whenever they're gone, he's the next person to take over for them. And I explained to him everything and what it was about, and my 10 hours and everything else. So that is it. It was a really good experience, and I'm very happy I got to do it.